What's up, my YouTube fam? I'm back. This is Larry with Invest and Build Your Credit and Wealth. Today, we're going to be talking about 1099-Cs and charge-offs. So I did a really big video on 1099-Cs and how you can go about trying to get 1099-Cs, charge-offs. I went over a bunch of different things, a lot of viewers on that. I've had some people in consumer lawyer consumers that talk about consumer law, saying what you can and can't do and what can't be done, all that type of stuff. Listen, I'm going with the facts, and if I have to take a person to court, what does the court system say? I don't care what nobody tell you in this credit repair journey that you on. If you Google it, if you look it up, if you do your research and say, if these people do not want to do something, if I take them to court for it, has there been court decisions that'll be in my favor? Because at the end of the day, this is America, right? And the only way you make people do things is to take them to court. Sue them, take them to court, right? People do illegal stuff all the time. They do it all the time. We talking facts on this channel. So they do it all the time. If you can't show where they went to court and a judge and a jury and somebody say that is wrong based on the laws, based on this, based on that, so we're going to judge in your favor based on the information that you give. Hey, you could talk about it all day, what a book says, right? Same thing with me. I talk about what the Fair Credit Reporting Act says. I talk about Metro 2, but Metro 2 is not a law. Metro 2 is just language that is used to send information. Now, you can use some information that's being inaccurate and then use the Fair Credit Reporting Act to sue somebody, because in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, it talks about having 100% accurate, complete, and verifiable information, right? It's all in how you judge everything. So today I'm gonna talk about 1099-Cs. I'm gonna talk about court cases that are in your favor of getting this removed, so you can know how to put together your dispute letter. Right? Not just your dispute letter with the credit reporting agency, but how you go after the original creditor for reporting this inaccurate information. Remember, you could only sue the creditor or the credit bureaus if you go through the credit bureaus. You cannot sue by going directly to the creditors, but you can put the creditors on notice. Listen to what I'm telling you. You can put the creditors on notice that you have been disputing this inaccurate information and they have failed to correct the information on your credit report, right? And then you can show that I have disputed this through the credit bureaus, right? I have a verified, and then you stack every different inaccuracy and you send that to the original creditor. So it's all about stacking, but we're going to get deep into it. I'm going to cover a little bit about 1099-Cs, a little bit about what the IRS does with them, and then we're going to get into some court cases that have them. So you can look these court cases up. I'm putting them up for you. You can look these up and be able, and I'll look up and I will help you with some of how you should be disputing or relaying this information, I should say, to the original creditor to get them to remove it. Now, listen, it is easier, right, to get this charge off removed if you've made some type of settlement. Reason I'm telling you this is because once you make that settlement, the original creditor has deemed the rest of it non-collectible. The problem is, if you get a 1099-Cs for the entire debt, there are some courts that say the IRS is requiring this to be submitted. They have a time frame. They have to submit this, especially if they're writing off lost revenue, right? But The creditors may tell you, and there's court cases that substantiate what I'm saying, just because the IRS required the creditor to submit this information does not mean the debt is not collectible anymore, right? And there are multiple court cases to say that. So you got to be looking at your strategy when you want to get these removed. I'm telling you from personal experience. I had a charge off for a Dodge Charger, a 2008 Dodge Charger. I blew the engine on it. I love fast cars. On my way to the racetrack, had some work done to it, blew the engine. It rode on my credit report. I was like, forget it, I ain't thinking about it. Eventually, when I got on this journey of fixing my credit report and changing my financial status, I only had like 6 months before it's going to fall off anyway. But I was on a journey, right? So I did one strategy. I did the restrictive endorsement. I sent them a check. They told me how much the settlement was for. I sent them a check. They sent that check back to me. Now, this is real talk. They sent it back to me and said, we can't accept this because in my restrictive endorsement, it was all about removing this debt from my credit report, right? So it went on. I got that back. I was like, well, shoot, I just don't want it. That $19,000 showing on my credit report does not look good, right? So I called them. They said, we're going to settle for $2,750 out of the 19. They sent me a 1099-C, right? I knew I was going to have to file it on my taxes. I know all that kind of stuff. So they sent it, right? I made that settlement. At the time they told me, I said, is this a non-collectible debt at this time? They say, yes, we would no longer have any collection activities with you at this point. So that 1099-C, I requested it to be removed. They actually removed that they removed that charge off, off my credit report. No longer on my credit report. The problem is people not understanding there's a difference between you receive a 1099-C on an unpaid, you didn't make any settlement offer, you didn't do anything. You didn't make any type of offer to settle this debt. And then have the creditors say that they're no longer trying to collect any money on this debt. This was a requirement for me by the IRS to submit and to do my taxes and to reduce my tax burden. But I did not write this debt off. This debt is not uncollectible, right? So there's a difference. So I would tell you, and I keep it real with you, if you're going to go that route, you're going to have a harder time. But come up with some type of settlement offer. Or if they did write it off the whole thing, if they did, you got to ask your creditor, have you ceased collection activities? Or are you no longer collecting on this debt? If they tell you they are no longer collecting on this debt, get it in writing. Get it in writing. Or when you talk to a representative, and they're saying this is a recorded line, say, well, I just want to record this conversation because I just want to make sure I'm clear on the questions I'm answering and the answers that I'm receiving, right? And if they tell you this debt is no longer collectible, we are not trying to collect on this debt has been wrote off as a charge off and we're no longer collecting on this debt, then you may have grounds to say, hey, this has been wrote off. You discharge this debt. You stop all and any collection activities on this debt, right? So you took you reduced your tax burden. Now you're asking me to increase my tax burden. So it is unfair for me to do that and continue to report this on my credit report. And we're going to be talking about some court cases that are in your favor. So when you're writing these letters to your creditors, you got grounds to write it because this is what court cases have ruled in your favor, right? So we're going to talk about that. So I just want to kind of go over that with y'all and stress that with y'all, right? Listen, if you got a $3,000 charge off and you can come up with some type of settlement offer, they can't. Now you got these court cases that you can write in to get that removed off of your credit report, right? You have strong cases. I'm going to read a few of them. You can put all of them in there And I'm going to put them up so you can see what the court cases, and you can go look up. And at the end, I'm going to put a couple court cases on here that didn't rule in your favor so you can go read them so you know this ain't no fluff. I'm giving you true facts, right? Because you need those facts to be able to come together with a great strategy to get these things removed, right? So this thing is all about, and this information I got from a attorney at law journal that they specifically wrote a journal on these type of instances with 1099Cs and the Fair Credit Reporting Act and what happens and should it be reported and how the 1099C and the Fair Credit Reporting Act, how they collide, all of that type of stuff, right? So this is from a journal. If you want to know the journal, I'll put it in the description. You can go look it up, read it yourself. I'll leave, like I said, the court cases, all of that information. So first, I want to read a little bit about the 1099-C. I'm going to go back over this with you. Although the IRS has provided some guidance in various information letters, federal and state courts that interpreted the IRS guidelines in different ways. Nationwide, courts differ as they rather, issuance a 1099-C extinguishes a debt or prohibits a creditor from suing collection or reporting the debt. Remember, courts have ruled differently. While it appears that the district circuit courts are holding that the existence of a 1099-C does not alone operate to distinguish a debt, some courts of limited jurisdictions have held that it is unfair to allow a creditor to enforce the alleged debt after receiving a tax benefit for a charge-off. So now you got to think about what courts are you going to go at, right? You may not want to go up to the higher courts with this. You may want to go to your lower district courts when you're trying to go, because they are the ones that have been ruling in your favor. A 1099-C when entity discharge an indebtedness of any person of at least $600 in a calendar year. So it has to be $600 in a calendar year. So I just want to kind of go over that. I want to go over that because there are some courts that say, nope, don't distinguish it. And some courts that say, yep, it's unfair, right? And we're going to get to those court cases. Another thing, the Internal Revenue Code, right, then lists 9 factors that trigger the issuance of a 1099-C, including the expiration of the statute of limitations to collect on a breach of contract. So statute of New York 6 years, Texas 4 years, California 4 years, right? The decision or policies to continue collection and the expiration of the 36-month non-payment test period, right? So another thing you need to look at, how long has this charge off? Has this been longer than 3 years? They are not trying to, and the statute of limitations has expired. So say in Texas, the statute of limitations, they can't sue you. It's 4 years. They haven't did a 1099, they haven't did a 1099-C, or they did a 1099-C. They can't sue you for it, right? That means they can't force collection on it, right? And once they can't force collection on it, any major creditor, bank, car loan, they're not trying to come after you, because that's why they get it to collection agencies, because they can't force collection on you. It's outside the statutory limitations. So understand that, right? So let's get into some of these court cases, right? That the evidence, and they say some courts have found issuance of a 1099-C is evidence of a discharge, meaning they wrote that debt off. They're no longer going to be collecting on this debt, and that's it. That's it. They're not doing anything else with it, right? But you need to understand, okay, what are the court cases that I can use? So it says some courts have provided and persuaded that it is unfair to allow a creditor to enforce an alleged debt after it receives a tax benefit or charge off. The actual or at least potential tax consequences of the form makes it unfair to allow a creditor to enforce its claims against a debtor. Now, Discover Bank versus Scheimer 36, right? You can look this up and I'm putting it up in the screen, holds that it was unfair to allow a creditor to enforce an alleged debt after it received the tax benefit of the charge off. That is one that you can use. Another one, AmTrust Bank versus Fawcett. The issuance of the Form 1099-C after a debt was written off was prima facie evidence that the debt has been discharged by the creditor, a significant to create an issuance of fact. That is another case, right? Another one, Franklin Credit Management Corp against Nicholas, right? It would be unfair to require a defendant to report the discharge of debt as income on this federal tax return or face the potential tax consequences and hold the plaintiff may continue to hold them liable for the debt. Those are three court cases that you could use, right? Understand how to write these dispute letters, right? So first thing you want to do, you want to look for any inaccurate information on the discharge. Have they been reporting in a 2-year history as a charge off? Have they been reporting on it every single month? They're reporting on it. It's on your credit report. They should be reporting on that charge off every single month. Is the date of last payment correct? You need to look at everything. Did they change some information? Is the date open? Look at the inaccurate information, right? Because you have to go through the credit bureaus. You can also add that it was unfair to report these charge-offs. Also, make it clear that this information needs to be transmitted on the automatic consumer dispute verification form that they send to the original creditor, the ACDV. Make sure that you say this information must be put into the ACDV form. Now, you're also going to dispute the charge off with the original creditor. But this is where you're going to be stating your case with all the court cases that prove I've settled this debt, or you have deemed this uncollectible, it's past the statutory limitations, you've issued a 1099-C. There are court cases that have deemed that it was unfair for you to continue to report this on my credit report. I've given you the court cases. I'm giving you the information for you to go look at. This is when you want to go. And now you want to send that information to the original creditor. You're disputing, and you want to dispute that certified, and then you're sending the letter to the creditor. You want to send that certified to make sure when they got it. And then, because now you can attach both of those. And what I mean by attach, meaning that when you get the information back, you send both information. And in your letter, you must say, I have disputed this information with the credit bureaus, and I'm waiting their response to see if they do a reasonable investigation, right? So you want to put that in your letter, that I've also disputed this information, the inaccurate information that I have in this letter. I've also disputed this debt because you've already was issued a 1099-C. We've already settled this debt, no longer collection activities. And then you need to put all that stuff in there, and then once you mail it off, but you need to make sure all that information is in your letter. Let them know. I've also disputed. So if I get this debt has been verified, there's proof for me that there was not a true investigation done, along with the other inaccurate information that is reporting. You want to put that stuff. That's powerful information. And because I am disputing this with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and this inaccurate, incomplete, unverifiable information is being reported, you could be subject to be sued under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So it's all about how you word your letters using the proper information to send this information to the original creditor, and also dispute it with the credit bureaus, because you got to go through the credit bureaus, right? So that was some of the things I was just like, from the last 1099-C, I mean, I was getting so much feedback on it, but I think a lot of times people don't really realize, like, I'm big on what the courts are gonna do. Because if I can't make somebody do something, in reality, I'm gonna have to take you to court. I can't just bring a book to you. I mean, I got all that stuff they think I don't have. I got the U.S. code. I know consumer law. I mean, I know all that stuff. I understand a lot of that stuff. But my thing is, what do you do? If they don't do nothing, if they just say, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. Let's keep it real. What you going to do? Are you going to say, well, the book said this? What are you going to do? Right? So that's the question you got to ask. So for me, that's why I like to communicate a lot with consumer lawyers, because they know the law, they know the courts, right? And then that's why I look up court cases, because the court cases tell me the questions. You can read, I'm not going to read the whole written court case and everything the court said and why they said it. That's for you to look it up, read on it, and see, right? But I'm telling you, I gave you the short version. But you got to understand, sometimes if they don't want to do nothing, your original credit got their arms crossed and they don't want to do nothing, they looking around like, okay, no problem. I'm not doing it, right? I'm not doing it. So what are you going to do? You got to take them to court. That's your way of making it happen. So I just want to, man, I'm so passionate about this, where people come back and they just say, well, the consumer law says this and this is, well, you show me a court case. When they're telling you that, you tell them, show me a court case where the courts said, no problem, you're right, and we're going to take this off, right? That's the thing. Like, I hate when people give information, but they ain't giving you information to show you true facts that it's reality. Like, I'm giving you reality stuff. Like, I'm telling you what happened and how it came in the favor of the creditors, right? I'm not just spitting stuff out the book. Yeah, we can write that in our letters. We can put that in a letter, but I'm next level. So what if they don't want to do it? There's some people that's just not going to do it. You got some bad debt collectors that's just not going to do it. You're going to have to take them to court. They may not show up because they know they're going to lose, but you're going to have to push it that far. Sometimes you got to push the button and hold the button in until somebody get tired of that ding, 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 ding in their ear all day, so they answer the damn door, right? So I'm telling you, this information is powerful. So if you want to know, I have some letters, example letters. If you want to know, shoot me an email. I can give you some examples of what to put in your letters. But look up these court cases. Look them up. Use these as powerful tools to get those charge-offs removed, especially if you settle, you don't owe anything on the debt, it's reporting at 0, especially those. Now, the ones that you still owe in the debt, you got to do some homework. You're going to have to call them. You got to see that they issue a 1099-C. If they don't want to tell you, you got to call the IRS. You're going to have the IRS, do I have any 1099-Cs that was issued against me, right? You're going to have to do that. And then the IRS will tell you, there were 2 1099s issued against you. You may not even know about it. Maybe you moved. Maybe a lot of things could have happened. You never received it, right? But you need to call them. Then the IRS will get those to you. Now you can go look at those charge-offs and say, you got a 1099-C, and then you're still reporting the debt It's past the statutory limitations. Oh, you trying to play me, right? So, so I don't owe this. Are you still collecting on this debt? They may not even be collecting on it. So why are you still showing that I owe an amount on this debt when you wrote it off? You're not even no longer collecting on this debt. You deemed it uncollectible, but you're trying to still collect on. I don't get it, right? And then use the court cases in your favor, right? The issuance of a 1099-C, and you got it, was unfair, right? So you have to know how to do your homework. But I really want to get this. Hopefully, this is a powerful video and y'all get it. Please if y'all think I'm wrong, leave a voice, leave a message. You know what I mean? I'm all about debate. I'm the debate, but I'm gonna do my homework. But anyway, hey, like, subscribe, share the channel. This is a powerful video. This is information you can use to get your charge-offs removed off your credit report. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everything y'all do. All my new subscribers, thank you. Continue to push out these good videos. I'm getting ready to go on a series of how to build your credit report, how to start building your credit report, what kind of credit cards to put on your credit report, what avenues you need to take. So that's next. I need to go into the building process, but you know the deal. Any of this information is in my master dispute package. If you're interested in that, it is in there with a lot of information, tons of information. So anything coming on with that, just check me out. And I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Hopefully this information will bow y'all well in y'all future journey on getting y'all credit straight. Right? So I'm out.